lírico al viento. La bala achicó Méndez. La bala achicó Méndez en Brasil. 150.000 guatemaltecos, los mineros que enfrentan a fusil. Represión estudiantil en México. Todo está cargado en la memoria. Arma de la vida y de la historia. América con almas distraídas. Los chicos que matan a escuadrón. Suplicio de Mujica por las villas. Dignidad de Rudolf Walsh.
Drunk, right? But then when you're not drunk, everything, you don't know what to think. I guess if you're just, yeah, it depends on, it really does seem to depend on the reality of the children. More and more people are keying into that. Even young people, I think. Is there any messages in here? There used to be messages in here. I'm going to put a message in there. Because there used to be, and there should be messages in everything. Rip fucking paper. I hate it. Ah! I don't know why there's... Yeah. That's really how messages right there. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Here's the pen or pencil. It works. It does. Okay, we got it there. But anyway, I gotta play a song. Jesus Christ, how'd you get to be so almighty like Jesus Christ? How'd you get to be in something you didn't suppose you'd be? You walked upon the water, what was the deal on that? My mother said the tide's rolling in. My father said don't even begin's not worth thinking about that. I got a message in a bottle, blown out up onto the sea. So I need someone to walk up on the water and fetch my soul for me. Oh, oh. Well, Jesus Christ, I really, really love you, but I need to know just what you're all about. So tell me about your fame and what's your history. How'd you get yourself mixed up with all of that crap? That bullshit all sounds made up. Yeah, Jesus Christ. How'd you get to be so almighty? Well, Jesus Christ. How'd you get to be in something you didn't suppose you'd be?
images.
Oh
of
yeah. Oh, talk
people's
about
trees.
Jesus. Talk about Jesus Christ. It's fucking Christmas time, and it's like, oh my God, I love this. It's not like you're being sarcastic. I mean, I really don't see any day. I lived in a cave. It's like if you live in, I guess it's living in addiction or in prison. And addiction is a prison. Or if you live with a wall, I mean, you're just living. I mean, that's how you should be living, right? I guess. Just, I mean, Christmas is made up. Someone can try to control you. It's like someone going, this is the time of year. I mean, you can tell when it's winter, I guess. There's a natural thing. But this is the time of year when you're supposed to be good to other people. Well, why is that? No, you should be doing that all the time. I don't even get that. It's like when they tell that thing about the Germans during the Second World War, and they're going, it is tear jerking and all that shit. But if you think about it, it's like, wait a second, we're throwing exploding things back and forth across this great divide. And one day we go, let's have a truce. It's like, it doesn't even, why don't we have one day, and that's that weird movie, right, where you can, it's a free-for-all. Okay, I don't like either idea. I guess you gotta let aggression out, and it might as well be almost most of the time. Whatever, So I gotta go and kill me another lamb. We'll see you in a bit.
I broke it down. My soul been wearing thin. I have to walk from here then back again. I send regards to those new to my train. My thoughts are always wandering where I am. I'm wandering a freeing.
Would you say you're against that?
Freeing.
Yeah, you're against it. Okay, that's all I want. Okay, let me ask you what would you classify?
Hola, soy el rey. I'm broken down back home. I'm swimming around these stones, so open for great skipping. I throw towards the sun. I'm following. I lay heavy low. I'm swallowing my tongue, and I'm heading home. Broke it down and found bones from former friends along a road so far from where I'd been. I picked some up and licked the salt for them with due respect. I left them where they lay, and I went on my way.
Mi nombre es Rumpel and I want you to guess my name. Who? La chica. ¿Dónde está la chica? ¿La reina o la mujer? Sí, mi mamá. Mi mamá. No, yo no estoy nacido todavía. Oh, chao.
I broke it down back home. I'll roam again upon this plane. It flies me with the wind into this haze to where we're all drifting. I feel amazed to be a part of it. To be a part of it.
Entre oro. Por favor, por favor. Ay, gracias, gracias. ¿Dónde está el rey? El rey. Rey. El rey. Estoy aquí. ¿Dónde está? Hola, hola.
That we may draw up between species point to a certain hypocrisy in it. Like, this I think is like what people do is not automatically the right thing to do, right? People can do lots of things, right? But that doesn't make those things justifiable. right? Like 200 years ago, everyone's argument for racism would be the same thing, right? But that doesn't justify racism, right? We're asking you, like Ed is asking you, what is the justification for you doing these things? And well, he said because everyone does it, but that's no justification, right? Let's continue.
In our view of animals, I think potentially there's another way of getting there. And that would be to try and discern whether or not reducing animal suffering we should consider to be a moral priority. Should we pursue the reduction of animal suffering?
Okay, can I ask you a question? And this is just
Come back to my question.
I will come back to your question, of course. But you know, I've spoken to other vegans, you know, kids in my class, whatever, and you know, they think that animal suffering is one of our world's greatest issues, right? I mean, I've heard people compare it to some, you know, humanity's greatest atrocities, and they said, you know, the mass slaughter of millions of animals every day is a travesty. My question is, do you agree? Do you think that as a moral dilemma is comparable to some of our society's greatest atrocities, or would you say that there is also a distinction, right? Because what you're saying is that we really need to take into consideration the suffering of these animals, right? And so my question is, how would you compare what's taking place now, this mass animal suffering, with mass human suffering? Would you say that this is as greater atrocity than, I don't know, you know, the killing of Laos or whatever it was? I mean, do you think that there's a comparison to be drawn, or do you also consider it an animal life to be worth less than a human life? Because how many chickens are dying and suffering? You know, how many people suffer in the killing fields of Laos? Way more chickens are suffering, right? And so if you consider that sentient being to be worth as much as a human being and a human's life, then you think that what's taking place right now is just as bad for you doing these things. I will come back to your question, of course. But you know, I've spoken to other vegans, you know, kids in my class, whatever, and you know, they think that animal suffering is one of our world's greatest issues, right? I mean, I've heard people compare it to some, you know, humanity's greatest atrocities, and they said, you know, the mass slaughter of millions of animals every day is a travesty. My question is, do you think that as a moral dilemma is comparable to some of our society's greatest atrocities, or would you say that there is also a distinction, right? Because what you're saying is that we really need to take into consideration the suffering of these animals, right? And so my question is, how would you compare what's taking place now in this mass animal suffering with mass human suffering? Would you say that this is as greater atrocity than, I don't know, the killing of Laos or whatever it was? I mean, do you think that there's a comparison to be drawn, or do you also consider it as animal life to be worth less than a human life? Because how many chickens are dying and suffering? You know, how many people suffer from the killing fields of Laos? Way more chickens are suffering, right? And so if you consider that sentient being to be worth as much as a human being and a human's life, then you think that what's taking place right now is just as bad or worse than what took place then. So I think you also, deep down, I'm not strong enough, I think perhaps
As Ed pointed out, for sure, but this is also a red herring. Whether or not a human life is more valuable than a chicken life, whether or not they're equal, or whatever, the point remains that their life is more important than our taste pleasure. It's probably far more important than that, but at least we can agree on that. But he's making a red herring here, and it's interesting because he's making a whole like comparison from this to a genocide or a tremendous human suffering, and he's using that as a gotcha against a vegan.